Hey guys, what's good? Derek here from Bomb Socks with more Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ one bite at a time. So as we're back in Matthew chapter 16, there is one verse that I skipped over as I've taught the last couple days, and it's a pretty significant verse. As you go to Matthew chapter 16, verse number 19, it says, "And I will give unto thee," meaning Peter, "the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Now, I don't know if Peter fully understood. Like I said yesterday, I don't know if Peter understood all of the stuff that was going on. Now, there is a reason why right after Matthew chapter 16 comes Matthew chapter 17, where the chapter heading says, Jesus is transfigured before Peter, James, and John on the mount. Now, this picture right here is a picture of the Mount of Transfiguration. So if you were to go to Matthew 17, verses 1 through 9, it's got a cool experience. It says, "After 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured," meaning his countenance was changed in order to be able to be in front of them. "And his face did shine as the sun, his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto him Moses and Elias, talking with him." Again, that footnote there is Elijah, okay? "And then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, one for Elias." It's like, can we just make a house for you guys and let's just kind of hang out here, because what I'm feeling right now is really good. "And while he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him." One of those moments where God the Father was there for this as well. "And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face, they were sore afraid, and Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead." So this was a fairly spiritual experience, right? Now, back to what the Bible dictionary says about the Mount of Transfiguration. It uses interesting phrases. It says, "This very important event in the New Testament." This event is important in many ways. Few events in the Bible equal it in importance. So you can see this is an important thing that happens. Well, what's so important that happens here? Jesus, first of all, singles out Peter, James, and John from the rest of the 12, took them to an unnamed mountain, and there he was transfigured before them, and they beheld his glory. Peter, James, and John were themselves also transfigured before him. These are some quotes from various sources here. "Moses and Elijah appeared on the mountain, and they and Jesus gave the keys of the kingdom to Peter, James, and John. John the Baptist, previously beheaded by Herod, apparently was also present, perhaps even others who had key roles in the restoration. Peter, James, and John saw in vision the transfiguration of the earth that is to take place at the second coming, when the millennial era is ushered in. It appears that Peter, James, and John received their own endowments while on the mountain. Apparently, Jesus himself was strengthened and encouraged by Moses and Elijah so as to be prepared for the infinite sufferings and agony of the atonement. Certainly, the 3 chosen apostles were taught in plainness of his death and also of his resurrection. It should also have been apparent to them that the old dispensations of the past, symbolized by Moses and Elijah, had faded away, and apparently God the Father, as we read, overshadowed and hidden by a cloud, was present on the mountain, although Peter, James, and John apparently heard only his voice and did not see his form." So this is a pretty significant and important event, right? Now, with all of these things, you kind of always have to ask yourself the question, so what, right? So what does the Mount of Transfiguration have to do with you and I? Well, there's a cool little video that was done just a couple years ago. You remember, where all of the apostles got together at the dedication of the Rome, Italy temple. Great little video here by the church newsroom that shows why this event is so important. So go ahead and watch this.
Behind me in the rotunda, we have a statue of Peter holding keys. And what's interesting is that with modern day apostles, all of the 12 hold all of the keys.
Priesthood keys are the right and the responsibility to direct the work of the priesthood. The exalting and saving ordinances cannot be performed unless authorized by one who holds priesthood keys.
We show that the Lord has established his work once again fully across the entire world, not just in one part, not just in one hemisphere, but the whole world.
Like Paul, how the Lord gave the keys of the priesthood to Peter. All of that is back on the earth today, all of it.
We're grateful to have as our president and our prophet one who has all of those keys so that all the blessings of the gospel of Jesus Christ can be given to the members of the church.
How grateful we are for restored priesthood keys that give us the power and authority to represent the Lord in blessing His children across the earth.
It's the greatest blessing and opportunity of my life to travel the earth on the errand from the Lord to employ those keys in the blessing of individuals and families.
And the keys are on the earth, and they bless the people and everyone who is willing to come and see, come and learn, and come and hear.
Now, a cool principle here. The president of the church possesses and is authorized to hold and exercise all priesthood keys. I love how you had President Nelson holding that key right there along with Peter. I think it's so cool. Now, what if an event like this could happen in our dispensation? Well, some of you are probably thinking this from the very beginning. Of course, this happened as you go back to the Kirtland Temple, where it says a similar event occurred on April 3rd, 1836 in the temple at Kirtland, Ohio, where the same heavenly messengers conferred priesthood keys upon Joseph Smith and Oliver Cowdery, where you have Moses, who is conferring the keys of the gathering of Israel or missionary work. And you've got Elijah, who is conferring the sealing keys, temple work upon them as well. So this event that took place at the Mount of Transfiguration is very, very important. So the next time you are involved in missionary work, the next time you are involved in temple work, I want you to repeat along with what Peter said, Lord, it is good for us to be here. I think that's such a great statement. I used to do that in my seminary classes. At the end of my classes, I would have sometimes where I would just say, it's good for us to be here. And I would have a student say, tell us why it's good for us to be here today. And they would share with us that. So I love this whole Mount of Transfiguration experience, and it is very relevant and important to us today, and I'm grateful for it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for subscribing. We love that you do that. And please go check out our amazingly comfortable gospel themed socks at BOM-BITES.com. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Godspeed. Bye-bye.